All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the University of York.
Okay.
And specifically, we're going to be looking at this university through the lens of an African student who, is thinking about going to the UK
Great.
to study abroad.
Yeah.
And all the information we're going to be talking about today comes directly from the University of York's website.
Perfect.
So we'll be pulling, snippets and all that kind of stuff from there. And so I guess the big questions that we're going to be looking at today are, what makes York special?
Okay.
Like, why would somebody even want to go to York?
Yeah.
What programs stand out? What about scholarships and financial aid
Yeah.
for international students?
Of course.
And then I guess probably most importantly, what about working while studying and then those all-important post-graduation opportunities
Yeah.
in the UK?
Let's get into it.
So first things first, why York?
Well, York is a member of the Russell Group.
Okay, so I know the Premier League is a big deal in football.
Yeah.
But what does the Russell Group mean for academics?
The Russell Group is like the Premier League of UK universities.
Gotcha.
So that's a really good analogy.
Okay, so
Basically.
it's like the top.
It signifies a commitment to research and teaching.
Okay,
So high-quality research
Gotcha.
and teaching.
so how does that benefit, African students who are thinking about
Well,
in there?
if you're an African student thinking of going to the UK, that's a great sign that you're going to be learning from the best.
Okay,
It's also going to look great on your CV
gotcha.
for future career prospects.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and speaking of research, I was checking out York's website, and they've got some really cool projects going on.
Really?
They're doing work on everything from sleep deprivation's impact on memory
Interesting.
to virtual field trips of Ukrainian universities,
Wow.
even food security programs.
It's great that they have such a variety.
Yeah, it's a really wide range of stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to see in a university. You
Yeah.
want to see that they're tackling all sorts of issues,
Yeah.
big questions.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like they're not shying away from any of the big questions,
Absolutely not.
which is really cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that can be inspiring for students,
For sure.
you know?
Okay, so we talked about research. We talked about the Russell Group.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. The student experience goes beyond just the classroom.
Of course.
What's life actually like in York itself?
York consistently ranks as one of the best places to live in the UK.
Wow.
Beautiful, historic city, vibrant, culture-friendly atmosphere.
Wow.
So cobblestone streets, charming cafes, rich history.
Yeah, and so being located in a safe and welcoming environment
Yes.
is obviously a really big plus for international students.
Of course, yeah. You want to feel comfortable in your surroundings.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially when you're adapting to a new country and a new culture.
Exactly. So that's definitely a big plus. Now, I know a lot of our listeners are wondering about the practicalities of studying abroad,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
So what kind of support does York offer international students?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Now, the website doesn't give us a lot of detail about
I like
finances,
to.
but what I did notice is they highlight their Equal Access Fund for asylum-seeking students,
Okay.
which is a great sign that they are inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a section about supporting students during global crises,
Oh, wow.
which shows they really care about student well-being.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But in terms of scholarships and financial aid for African students,
Right.
that's where you're going to have to do some proactive research.
Okay.
I would start by exploring the University of York's website,
Okay.
see if they have any scholarships specifically for African students or students from a specific country
Oh.
in Africa.
Okay.
A lot of times universities have partnerships
Oh, yeah.
with organizations or governments that offer these funding opportunities.
Okay, so don't just look at the university itself.
Don't limit your search.
Yeah. Look
Yeah.
beyond that.
Exactly. Look at other...
Wider net.
Yeah, wider net, exactly. You can reach out to the International Student Office or even the British Council in your home country.
Gotcha.
They can be really valuable resources
Okay, great.
for finding funding.
So there's lots of avenues to explore
There are.
when it comes to funding
Yes.
your education abroad.
Every little bit helps,
Absolutely.
you know.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about funding.
Yes.
And speaking of support systems,
Mm-hmm.
I was browsing the York website, and I was actually really impressed by their focus on supporting students,
Okay.
like during difficult times.
What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, they mentioned having resources available for students who are experiencing things like
Okay.
homesickness or culture shock.
Okay. Yeah, that's important.
which, it makes sense if you're
It makes a lot of sense,
moving to a new country.
especially one so far away.
Yeah, it's so far away.
Yeah, it's a huge adjustment.
It is.
And it's great that they have that in place.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're not alone
For sure.
in the
Yeah.
process. And it shows that York is actually, invested in the well-being of its students.
It's not just about academics.
Right.
It's about the whole person.
Exactly. And finding a place where you can thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So we've talked about, the appeal of York itself, the city. We've talked about research. We've talked about funding.
Yeah.
But let's get into, what you can actually study at York.
Okay.
I know our listeners are, eager to hear about the academic side of things.
So the University of York has a wide range of programs, both undergraduate and postgraduate.
Okay.
So we're talking humanities, social sciences, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Okay.
And they even have a website section with a course browser.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very user-friendly.
That's really cool because I remember when I was applying to universities, like navigating all those
Yeah.
program lists.
It can be really overwhelming.
You can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's good that they've got a user-friendly
Yeah.
kind of system going on.
Yeah, they've made an effort to make that process really clear
Yeah, that's awesome.
and straightforward.
So whether you're interested in history or astrophysics, there's probably something for you at York.
Most likely, yes.
But let's get even more specific. Are there any programs that particularly stand out?
Well, York is known for its research, remember?
Right. Yeah.
So that translates into some exceptional postgraduate research opportunities.
Oh, cool.
They have world-leading researchers
Okay.
in fields like astrophysics, computer science, biomedicine.
So if you're an African student who wants to become a researcher or pursue a PhD,
Yeah,
York could be the perfect place to go.
absolutely. It's a great springboard for your career.
Awesome.
And a degree from a Russell Group university holds a lot of weight
Yeah,
internationally.
that's true.
So it's a sign of quality and rigor that employers recognize and value.
So we've covered, the appeal of York.
Yes.
We've covered the research focus, the city itself.
Yes.
But what about the practicalities of actually being an African student studying in the UK?
Yeah.
Things like visas
Yeah. Visas are important,
and working while studying.
of course.
Those are critical questions.
Yeah.
And we'll get into those
Okay, perfect.
right after this.
So let's dive into these practicalities.
Okay.
Let's talk about visas.
Okay.
What do our listeners need to know about securing their right to study in the UK?
Well, the first step is to understand the type of visa that you'll need.
Okay.
For most African students pursuing a full-time degree at York, that's going to be the student visa.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I know that visa applications can feel really overwhelming,
Absolutely.
especially from so far away.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice on how to kind of navigate that process?
Well, the University of York's website actually has a lot of guidance on this.
Okay.
It walks you through all the steps.
You need to demonstrate that you've been accepted onto a course.
Mm-hmm.
You need to prove that you can financially support yourself while you're there.
Right.
And you also need to meet the English language requirements.
Gotcha. So it's all about being organized and prepared.
Exactly.
And I imagine the York admissions team is there to help out along the way too, right?
Absolutely. They will guide you through the process, so don't hesitate to reach out to them with any questions.
Awesome. Okay, so visa secured bags are packed. You're in York.
You've made it.
Now, what about the cost of living?
Okay.
Is it possible to work while studying to help cover expenses?
Yeah, that's a smart question. A lot of students look for part-time work
Yeah.
while they're studying to gain some experience
Uh-huh.
and supplement their finances.
Right.
The good news is the UK allows student visa holders to work
Right.
for a limited number of hours per week during term time
Gotcha.
and then full-time during the holidays.
That's awesome. Okay, so that's definitely a relief.
Yeah,
But, finding a job in a new city can be tricky.
it can be.
Does York offer any support to students
Mhm.
who are seeking employment?
Well, the website doesn't go into too much detail on that.
Okay.
But it's worth noting that York is a student-friendly city,
Okay.
which means that there are probably lots of part-time job opportunities
Right.
in places like hospitality, retail, and tourism.
So I guess it's about being proactive and researching those local options.
Yeah, and networking
yeah.
with other students who
Exactly.
have found jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
And remember, any work experience that you gain while you're in the UK is going to look great on your CV,
Yeah,
whether you stay in the UK after you graduate or you return home to Africa.
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of after graduation,
Mm.
let's talk about the big picture.
Okay.
What are the options for African students who want to stay in the UK
Okay.
after completing their studies at York.
So this is where things get a bit more complicated.
Okay.
The UK's post-study work visa rules have gone through some changes recently. Okay.
And the current option for international students, including those from Africa, is the graduate route.
The graduate route. Okay, what is that? How does that work?
So the graduate route allows eligible graduates
Okay.
to stay in the UK for 2 years after completing their degree
Okay.
to work or look for work
Okay.
in any field.
Okay.
And if you have a PhD
Okay.
or another doctoral qualification, it's 3 years.
Oh, wow. So that's a fantastic opportunity to gain some real-world
It is.
work experience in the UK.
Yes,
But I imagine there are some specific eligibility requirements.
of course.
Right.
To be eligible for the graduate route, you need to have successfully completed a degree
Mm-hmm.
from a recognized UK university,
Yeah, like York.
like York,
Okay.
and you need to have a valid student visa at the time of your application.
So it's really important to make sure you're meeting those visa requirements throughout your whole time studying.
Absolutely no cutting corners.
Yeah, for sure. And also keep in mind that the graduate route doesn't automatically lead to permanent residency
Okay.
or citizenship.
Gotcha.
It's a temporary visa
Okay.
that gives you time to kind of explore your options,
Right.
to gain some work experience, and maybe find an employer who can sponsor you for a different type of visa.
So it's like a stepping stone,
It is.
a chance to get your foot in the door.
Exactly.
Okay.
But let's be real, the job market is competitive,
It is.
especially for international graduates.
Yeah. What advice would you give to our listeners
Mm-hmm.
who are hoping to land their dream job in the UK after graduating from York?
I would say networking is key.
Okay.
Start building connections
Mm.
early on, attend career fairs, reach out to professionals in your field.
Yeah. So be proactive, basically.
Yes,
And, build your professional profile before you graduate.
exactly. Don't wait until the last minute.
Don't wait till the last minute.
And remember, your time at York is an investment in your future.
Yeah.
The skills and knowledge you gain, combined with the prestige of that Russell Group degree,
Hmm.
are going to make you a very competitive candidate for
Yeah.
jobs all over the world.
So whether you choose to stay in the UK or return back to Africa,
Exactly.
a York degree is going to help you out.
It will.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's incredibly reassuring.
Good.
But let's be honest. Navigating these complexities of visas and work permits and the UK job market,
Yeah,
it can be a lot.
it can be overwhelming.
So where can our listeners go for extra support and guidance?
That's where organizations like Immigration Bridging Academy come in.
Okay, so Immigration Bridging Academy, we mentioned them earlier.
Yes.
They specialize in supporting international students,
Yes, particularly those from Africa who are thinking about studying in the UK.
and they offer a range of services, right?
They do. They offer personalized advice on university applications, visa guidance. They can even help you find accommodation
Wow.
and settle into life in the UK.
So they take a really holistic approach
You do.
to helping students through
Every step of the way.
every step of the way.
Yeah. It can be a huge relief to have someone to guide you through that.
Exactly. And especially for those who are feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed by the process.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they do. They act as that bridge,
Yeah.
connecting aspiring students with those resources and support.
And I love that they offer a free consultation.
Yes, that's fantastic.
That's a great opportunity for listeners to explore their options, ask some questions, get personalized advice.
With no pressure
Exactly.
and no commitment.
No commitment. So if you're feeling inspired by what you've heard about the University of York
Yes,
and you're ready to take that next step, I highly recommend booking a free consultation
it's a great idea.
with Immigration Bridging Academy.
Absolutely.
They can help you assess your qualifications, discuss your goals, create a roadmap to success.
Make informed decisions.
Exactly. It's all about making informed decisions.
It is.
And having that expert guidance can make all the difference.
It really can.
Remember, choosing a university is a big investment.
It is.
Not just financially,
Yeah.
but also in terms of your time and your future aspirations.
Your future.
Exactly.
Yeah, well said.
It's an adventure.
It is.
And having the right support system can make that adventure so much smoother
Yeah, absolutely.
and more rewarding.
And you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll be featuring your groundbreaking research
Ooh.
on a future episode of The Deep Dive.
That's a fantastic thought.
I hope so.
Okay, so to recap, we've explored the University of York
We have.
through the lens of ambitious African students like you.
Like you.
We've talked about its prestigious reputation,
Yes.
its diverse research programs, that supportive environment,
Yes.
and even those practicalities
To nitty-gritty.
like visas and post-graduation opportunities.
Remember, this is just the starting point.
Yeah.
There's so much information out there.
Do your research, explore your options, and don't be afraid to ask for help
Ask for help.
along the way.
It's there.
Your dreams of studying abroad are within reach.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a wrap for our deep dive into the University of York.
Great.
We hope you feel inspired and empowered to take the next step
Yes.
in your education journey.
Awesome.
Yeah, they really do seem to cover all the bases.
They do. They really do. And yeah, I think it's especially helpful for students coming from so far away,
Yeah.
like Africa,
Yeah, having that support system in place can just make all the difference.
It can.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, York sounds amazing,
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend booking one of those free consultations
Yeah.
with Immigration Bridging Academy.
Great idea.
They can answer all your questions,
Mm-hmm.
help you figure out if York's the right fit for you.
It's all about making informed decisions. And having that guidance is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to something as big
As
as
big as this.
choosing a university.
It's a big decision.
Huge.
Yeah, not just financially, but
In every way. Yeah.
your future.
Exactly.
Well said.
So yeah, it's an adventure.
It is.
And having the right support can make it so much better.
Absolutely.
So to recap, I guess.
Right.
We've explored the University of York.
We have.
We've seen why it's so prestigious.
Mm-hmm.
We've looked into, all those different research programs.
Yes.
And we've even gotten into the nitty-gritty of visas and all that.
Those practicalities.
Exactly. All this practicality.
Yeah, and remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is, yeah.
Do your own research. Explore your options.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ask for help.
It's out there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, your dreams of studying abroad,
They're within reach.
they're totally within reach.
They are.
Okay, well, that's a wrap for our deep dive into the University of York.
Fantastic.
We hope you feel inspired
Yes.
to take that next step in your educational journey.
Best of luck.